Hello, everyone. I want you to all recall if you ever attended summer camp as a kid and your experience at camp counselors. And I want you to try and imagine their job from their perspective. I'm sure many of you will be imagining them having effortless fun, that their jobs are easier to work at versus UPS or landscaping. And I believe this to be true as well until I started working as a camp counselor. For this speech, I'll be talking about the positive experiences as an overnight summer camp counselor, my positive experiences, as well as my negative ones, my goals for doing it, and why I had to leave in the end. This information is really valuable to someone who is considering working at a camp themselves or sending their kids to camp. Me personally, I have experience as a young camper, a counselor in training, and as an actual camp counselor. I'm excited to share my experiences with you, both positive and negative, the reasons why I chose to work for a camp, and an injury that I received that caused me to leave in the end. To start with, I'll talk about the positive experiences I gained as a camp counselor and start off with what the staff training was like. When I showed up new and fresh for the job, they put us on a 10-day training period with all counselors, no campers, and it prepared me pretty well. And after the training, I was awarded a counselor and training director position, which I'm very grateful to have got, and I loved it. It was my favorite position to work at. And this position involved having campers come in from high school and training them to be counselors, as well as better people. I had a co-director who, her and I would come up with lessons every single day on how to be better counselors and people. And it was tough to come up with something new every single day without any direction, but we pulled it off. Some of the major positive experiences I had there were that I grew close to my campers over the summer, and they helped me grow a lot as a person. I pushed myself to get on my shell a lot more by doing things I never thought I would do, such as dance on a stage or sing in front of a group of people. Working this kind of job definitely helped my leadership skills tremendously, and I became happier more frequently than I ever had before. And because of the effort that I put in, I really made a difference in my campers' lives, and that's something that I carry with me still. Unfortunately, there were also negative experiences associated with becoming a camp counselor. These are some of them. To start off, the hours were extraordinarily long. We worked pretty much from 7 in the morning until midnight, with only 2 hours off a day. I recall nights where I slept on the floor of my cabin because the younger campers wouldn't go to sleep. And after 6 weeks straight of working these kind of hours, I became deliriously tired, and I started fantasizing about leaving for the summer. It was also a real challenge to stay positive. Since we mostly had new campers come in every single week that were new and fresh, we had to stay fun and optimistic, regardless of what position the campers were in. And that became harder the longer summer went on. And the job was also very physically demanding. Since the camp was very spread out across the mountain landscape, we had to hike pretty much to get to where we needed to go every single day. We spent a large part of our day hiking, um, which was tough, but it was also very good for us. And for about a period of 5 weeks, there was a food shortage at the camp. And the way the dining hall works at this camp was pretty much the counselors, they send out food. They give out the food first at a table, so all the campers get their food first. And we would always get whatever was last. And you can imagine a job this physical to not have enough to eat was pretty challenging. It was tough. And I would say some of the major negative experiences I had with the campers were breaking up fist fights. There were times where I spent 20 minutes trying to get a younger camper out of bed in the morning. But bless his heart, he'd been there for about 3 weeks straight. He was exhausted. Uh, also had to fight against bullying a lot as a camper, as a counselor, uh, in the campers. And one major thing, I had to send home one of my campers for bringing in marijuana to the camp. And I'm not the only source of this kind of information for camps. There is information online. According to mom.com, there's accounts of underage counselor drinking and extreme bullying from the campers, both of which I've seen. Now, I'd like to share with you my experiences, my personal reasons for applying for the job. I set out to work as a camp counselor for personal growth mainly. I wanted to gain life experience, confidence, leadership skills, and mental strength. And I thought this would be a great place to do it, and it was. Regardless of how hard the position was, it was very fulfilling. I feel like I get enough of these characteristics to feel happy about it and proud. I became more of a leader than I ever had before, and I'm really happy that I did it. And unfortunately, towards the end of my camp career, I experienced an event that pretty much determined my future at the camp. It was in the middle of my second summer. I was working horseback activity, which pretty much just consisted of, kids on horseback walking around an enclosed fence. And it was supposed to be very safe, like at least dangerous as possible. But out of nowhere, one of the horses with a younger camper on it started doing small hops and freaking out. And I immediately ran over to the horse because I was afraid he was going to buck or take off. And I immediately grabbed the reins to stop him from doing that, but he was so frantic and shaking, he just flopped over on in front of me. And while I was watching the girl roll to safety and holding the reins, I got kicked in the leg in the process. And after a few days of pain, the camp sent me to a hospital on workers' comp, and they didn't find anything. They said it was just bruising that would go away. So I hiked and worked for about 2.5 weeks in serious pain that got worse and worse. And it wasn't until my week off where I went to go visit another doctor, and that's when I learned that I had fractured my leg. I had to pretty much quit on the spot and wear a cast for a few months. And these aren't the only cases of injuries that you hear about at camp. There's also, according to CarlsonAttorneys.com, there's a lot of different injuries that can happen to campers, even though one of our main goals is to keep them as safe as possible. Towards the end of the speech, I hope that I've given you a clear picture of the camp counselor experience. This speech covered an in-depth experience into being a camp counselor, both positive and negative, as well as my personal goals for doing it, and the injury that I sustained that forced me to quit. After reading this, I hope it informs your decision to send your future relatives to camp, or if you're considering working for one yourself, because this type of work is definitely scarce. All right, thank you so much.